sound good. Oh my God.
We are at Liberty Gear.
Where are you guys going to?
Here?
Yeah.
This is super exciting. Brad's taking the time to help show me. You can buy a T56 Magnum like the one that's currently in the 3-rotor, and then you can do a lot to it. So I wanted to understand what those things are, especially when we shift our transmission, that clunk, next gear, next gear, next gear. Well, there's a lot that goes on behind that, and how do you strengthen that? What's a stock synchro look like on something like this?
So this is your stock synchro gear, and this is your slider with the synchro teeth, and then this is the synchronizer blocking ring assembly.
Yellow is brass, right? Like that?
Yeah, so this is the hybrid, so this is brass and carbon. This is spinning on the main shaft, which is all geared, and on your cluster shaft.
That's just a solid piece.
Actually, this one here.
Oh, perfect.
Will go the other way. Yeah.
The thing's spinning in here that's not connected to this at this moment when it's not in gear. And then all of this stuff. Yeah, so all of this stuff is meant to lock this into the spinning part in here. When you say it's in gear,
yeah, this is splined to the main shaft. Now you're driving through that gear.
Okay, so yeah, all you're doing when you're shifting, you talk about synchros or dogs or any of that sort of stuff, is how do you get power from this to this? I don't know how a synchro works, to be honest.
It's going to lock all that stuff in, and as you're shifting, it's going to apply pressure and grab the gear. That's why I like you shift something real high RPM. It doesn't want to go in because this can't work quick enough.
And so what does it look like when it goes in?
It applies the pressure to bring it to the correct speed.
Okay, and what wears?
So typically like the frictions will wear out.
Like a little clutch in there kind of.
Basically. And then, you know, every time you hear it grind, it's these teeth and these teeth like smashing together because this wasn't doing what it could do quick enough. So like a lot of people, when they think they're grinding gears, like they think they're actually grinding the gears. They're not. It's this piece and this piece that are making that grinding noise.
When you power shift it, you're forcing all this to try and just...
You're trying to get everything to line up at once. So then you go to the face-plated stuff.
Why is it called faceplate?
People have different names for it. That's just the name that we used.
Yeah, a lot of people.
The plate is on the face of the gear. I guess, you know, so some people call it a dog box, some people call it a crash box. Basically, we eliminate all the synchro stuff in the little teeth, and now you have a lot wider engagement to come into gear. It makes it almost impossible to miss a gear.
Right. You could, in theory, hit right here, but as long as you're still applying pressure, it'll still...
Yeah, with everything spinning, I mean, for it to like deadhead is pretty uncommon.
It's not just the shifting action. There's other things at play that you change in the transmission.
Because of room constraints for the faceplating, we had to make it inverted style. So this doesn't use any fork pads. So this is the interlock, so this is a factory interlock. So they'll break and then you lose all control of what happens inside the transmission. A long time ago we started making these out of billet. And also, here's the factory bolt that very easily bends, especially with the faceplated stuff, because you don't have all these detents and stuff holding everything where it should be. We made a billet one of those.
What does the interlock do?
The forks will be coming in here, and then this is, you know, both the forks will be hooked in there. We make this piece better, that piece better. Obviously, we're seeing that this piece may need to be made better now, too.
He's also really buff, so when he shifts it, the transmission doesn't care.
And then what's shot peening? What's cryo treatment?
We'll do what we call our thermal stabilization. A lot of times the gears, like from the factory, are too hard and brittle for like the higher horsepower applications.
Too hard?
Yeah, they can be too hard. So
kind
of like say like a street gear to a pro gear or something in a car. Deep freezing the gears helps the molecules, you know, everything. We'll do a shot peen to it, which is basically like really small metal balls at high PSI, putting like a compressive stress into the metal to help make the face of it stronger.
Oh, wow.
And then the micro polishing of stuff.
Yeah.
You're in first gear right there. You're going along.
Winning a race, probably.
Shift into second gear. You're not quite in until this gap takes up here for the next ratio. And right there, it starts to speed up to the next ratio, and it just kicks itself out of the previous gear. And so on down the line. But when you let off the gas, it also kicks itself out of gear too.
Whoa! Can you do it again? That was just cool.
So there's second.
Wow. That's so cool. We have made it to my house. I've not been here in exactly a year. Keypad that is not my Simply Safe keypad is dead. My brother replaced all this, and I wish it was a Simply Safe one, honestly, because it would have notified me on my phone. It would have known there was a low battery. Can't get into my own house, and hopefully somebody has a key, because otherwise this is going to be very, very bad. The last time the 3-rotor was here was, I think, 2017, so it's been 5 years since it's been back in Michigan. And the funniest part about that is the last time we were loading it up to leave, the neighbors screamed to shut it off, and that was in the middle of the day. We're going to go ahead, fire it up, move it back into the garage. It's the blue garage. That's one of my favorite things ever.
We're all wearing blue shirts too.
Yeah, all 3 blue shirts.
You guys blend in. Whoa,
Yeah,
where's your body, dude?
Yeah, blue screen, blue shirt. Guy, one hell of a car back in Michigan. We're gonna have some fun in Michigan over the next couple weeks. Oh, this has turned into a very fun visit home because I think we're bringing something really special back to the shop. I give you the Lincoln. This is not going to be a major project on the channel, and definitely not for a hot minute. We got way too many big things going on. The point is that this car ran last time I had it running, and it's been sitting in my brother's driveway. I feel bad for that. But U-Haul won't let us drop the trailer off one way. Might as well fill something back up and bring it back to the shop. So we're gonna do a real quick stop over to Advance, pick up a battery because we have no batteries in here. But let's take a look at what we're working with. This is a 7.6 liter MEL, 462 cubic inch, largest displacement engine Ford ever made. So it's basically a tank. We got no battery. This car is like a 7,000 pound vehicle. It's massive. It's one of the longest cars ever made, and it runs. So I kind of want to prove that so we can load it up on the trailer. It fits on a U-Haul trailer, but just barely. I drove this thing 3 years ago to Woodward Dream Cruise.
Oh, no way.
Several hundred miles that day without a problem. But I have all the trim, I have everything for the car, especially in the trunk of this thing.
Wow.
It's like the size of a smart car.
You can fit a couple bodies in here.
Yeah, I made a little short skit about how many bodies you can fit in here. Since we don't have a battery, we can't use this part of this piece to jump it, because there's nothing to jump. But we do have it as an air compressor. So we're gonna inflate the tires and get her back up to some level of self-respect.
Oh, 22.
What? Oh, this is such a heavy car. Look what it did to the tires.
What do these go to? 45?
30. So all we have to do is just dial in the pressure. We'll say 30, and then I'm just gonna press the whole pump. Downside to owning anti-gravity batteries is you can't go out and lat lift. You can't use the anti-gravity for any of that. It's practically useless. This battery is massive. These wires are trash. This thing's scary. A master relay, there's the starter line.
Huh.
But we might need to do something about that.
Oh.
Okay, the key's on.
Yeah, the key is on.
That's a good sign,
That's
kind
a
of.
very good sign. This car's older than I think all 3 of us combined. Okay, she's off.
Nice.
Okay, good sign, good sign.
I think we just try and turn it over, no?
Do you want it
Fire
to...
hazard, Joel, you don't understand.
At this point, this is going to be our weak spot. The actual lug is falling apart. Wow. And then I tried loosening this and it's bending. So I'm just cleaning off all the contacts. This is not good. I just felt this
Nice.
break off. I'm going to just tap this on the other side of this little regulator. We won't start the car because the car's not on, but I just want to make sure that the starter reacts. We're going to try and see if we can turn the motor over with that. It's still on. He's still on.
Oh, I heard something.
Let's think about it. There we go. Oh, there we go. Did you see I have to wiggle this shit? Okay, turn it off. We got a little bit of pretty obvious electrical work to do right now. This is why my multi-tool was so useful out here. Like, this is real car repair, not, hey, we have every single proper modern tool at our disposal. This is my roots, cleaning off the copper contacts. I don't know, what do you guys think? Is this more relatable content? It's not gonna be as popular because it's not 5,000 horsepower, but at the end of the day, right now, this is what we all do. No way. Both Isaiah and Joel are used to how we do it nowadays, but you have to use what's at your disposal. And so this is a whole new world for them. So that nut just pulled out of this thing right here, but this thing is made out of lead. And so we're not gonna go get new nuts. We're gonna make this one work. So I'm gonna put it back in there and hammer the lead back around this so we get this piece to do what we want it to do. Now when we go to bury my bone into that right there, it'll have lead in the way, which is going to be compressed and it won't let it pull out. You got much better contact. Make sure that connection's no question. Now that we have that working, kind of curious. Look at how hot that got. That metal was bright yellow or red. If you notice, I'm not looking at it, and which is also dangerous. There's no way of actually shorting the car out, but I'm not looking at it because I don't want to see that spark. We'll pop this top. This car is carbureted. It's got a little fuel pump, which I don't hear turning on. Air filter. And there you are. There's a classic Venturi carburetor, some choke right there. I smell the hint of fuel. I don't see any fuel. So with this falling apart, might as well face the music that that piece is not good for us. I'm kind of thinking is we'll separate this and wedge it back on like that. We'll get this last remaining artifact from the Titanic off of there. And there we go, exposed copper. And we'll keep this retaining ring with these on there so that way it can't like accidentally fall off. But like I said, we'll put it kind of closer to this medium middle area right there. So we're gonna try and use a flanged M8 nut, which is hilariously not the correct one, but they're close. It's beautifully horrible. Give it like a 1 to 2 second pulse on. Let's watch to see if any fuel goes into the jets.
I don't see any fuel.
Yeah, give me full pedal. I don't see any fuel under there. That's where it really pull. Fuel is under the choke.
This would have fuel in it, right?
Should. Okay, so at this point I would also be checking for a spark plug issue. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and take a look at the distributor cap. I replaced this recently, so she's fine. So what we need to do is make sure this coil is getting power. We're gonna go ahead and test the coil. This is kind of dangerous. You want it to just spark and pull.
Nothing.
What we're gonna do is we're gonna use this power line right here to try and power one of the bulbs we got. And if the bulb lights up, we know we got power to that. It's funny enough, those little filaments in there are tungsten. Okay, so it's this back side one with this front side one. Okay.
Oh, okay.
There we go. Simple proof that the coil is in fact getting power. And all the contacts in here are good. So try getting that spark plug closer to something grounded. Because I was tracing the other wire to the coil, and you can see all the way down here, there's some weirdness. So I'm gonna clean these contacts off. That's kind of an impressive sign that maybe something's doing something. Sounds like a spark plug. But this ground only activates and turns on when the camshaft right here allows it. Okay.
Okay, yeah, perfect.
Okay.
So this is working.
Okay, that's good. I think it'll start. I think now we're focused on fuel. We got no squirt because we got no fuel in our float. We're gonna go ahead and give her some fuel.
It just spit stuff in my face, but
Yeah.
that was sick.
That thing sounds hefty, dude.
Yeah, it's a monster engine. So there you go. We fired that back up. We just gotta get the fuel pump working and get fuel to this little float area, so that way we can squeeze a little bit of fuel back into this. I'm tracing it back. These are the two fuel lines to and back from the fuel tank, and I've recoated that fuel tank years ago. And then there's like a little pressure regulator, and this is the fuel lines up to the carburetor. So this is it a mechanical pump? It's been a minute, I don't remember. But what we can do is take off this fuel line, make sure we see fuel, see if that tells us we're one step closer, or maybe we need to not prime it or turn it over, but maybe fire it up again and see if the fuel system. I just hope there's not a block. That's gonna be a major bummer if there's a block. Please have fuel. Yeah, that's good, that's good. So we know we have fuel to here, so then we would check this line right here. So I think this is a mechanical fuel pump. We're going to see if it makes fuel get to this by starting it again. The crazy part about this is this air rushing past that creates faster velocity, so the air goes faster, and based on that same principle, the faster air is lower pressure. So just based on air, the way it works, that will create a vacuum inside of that open space. It makes no fucking sense when you're young and trying to figure out, and it still makes no sense when you're older, but that's how this works. So I'm gonna just watch for that pulling a vacuum, or giving me the ability to see fuel pumping into the carburetor. Open the throttle for me. We'll need open and wrench and open that area. Yeah, okay, so it's not. So we're gonna take apart first the fuel filter off of the fuel pump and see if that's clogged. Okay. That's not a good sign, yeah.
It was filtering.
That's a good sign. This is fuel on the opposite side of the filter.
That's the pump. That's not a good sign. So with that filter out of the way, we're gonna just see if this pump dribbles it.
Yeah. It didn't dribble. Yeah.
Okay. What's really interesting about a carburetor setup is that the fuel line and return line are at the pump, which makes sense. But then this line doesn't have a return line, so there's not fuel flowing through the carburetor, there's fuel dumping into the carburetor. The carburetor has to allow that fuel to come to it. So if this is pressurized, as in like not allowing stuff to go into it, there's our problem again. We're gonna go ahead and take this brass part off. Oh, that's a little catch filter. I wanna see fuel pump out of here, because we didn't see it pump out of here, even though we saw it kind of pump out of there. I'm not convinced. I think that there's still a problem. That filter not impressing me, being clogged, that not being the problem. We're gonna watch to see if fuel comes out of here. Any pressure of any sort?
Yeah.
Maybe we don't have fuel.
Maybe.
There we go. It's really wild because the fuel tank is obviously so big, but there are two lines running to and from it, and the pump is all the way up here, height-wise. Just like when you have the coolant system doing that, you really have to get the correct vacuum and pressure. It really relies on the system not having any leaks or holes or being empty.
Nothing.
Okay, so I just pulled this line off. That is some gross-ass fuel. So this doesn't make me feel too safe about the actual pump. What we're gonna do is we're gonna hold this up, and we're basically gonna put fuel into this. I'm having weird dreams tonight. Let's see if that helped the pump.
It squirted a little bit.
We'll try it again. Okay, I'll take that. What we are trying to do is get inside of the carburetor to see if the area where it holds fuel is messed up, fix it, start it back up, you know, get the system working again with whatever is holding it back. Well, we can pour fuel into this float.
Yeah. I could put it in my mouth and spit it in there.
No. Right in here.
That looks like it's wet.
Yeah, it is wet. But the float might be like closing it off or some shit like that. Pills are good.
Oh my god. That was, what is that?
He's like, he's hauling ass. What are you doing, Isaiah?
Being a man.
Okay, so we're gonna take the entire carburetor
I don't
off.
know why you made me think that was gonna like super spring back or something.
I didn't
like
do shit.
that.
That was really all you.
Yeah,
I
that
was really
camera
like,
shyness.
nervous.
We might, in the very first time in the history of our lives, use carb cleaner to clean an actual carb. 'Cause the rest of it's easy from down there.
So this is a carb, and if you have one of these, switch over to EFI. Save yourself the time.
Right now our accelerator pump, which is when you give it the gas and it squirts in, not using Venturi effect, that has been giving us the problem. Quite literally, all of your Haltech stuff comes from like prime pulse, which is that priming the engine, and that's the part of the carburetor that's not working.
When you want to rebuild your carburetor, you need a flathead, razor blade, a multi-tool, a pick, a determination, and big balls. Obviously the bed of a truck always helps.
It's easier to rebuild a carb, we've found. If you're in middle America and with the bed of a truck. The necessary tools.
Well, these are supposed to float with fuel.
We're gonna take off one of the jets and the passageway behind it, just to make sure. Okay, so there's a little thing there that has to be there, and then this is all part of that process. I'm trying to get it to prove that it can come out there. Oh, look at, there's all those holes there. Oops. That's how it sucks it up and in. What I'm purposely going to do is reverse Venturi it and block this and this off. One side with my mouth, one side with my fingers, and I'm going to pressurize it, which will pressurize this and hopefully send air somewhere.
My best blower.
It doesn't seem like a restricted pathway at all.
I took all the carburetor and all the jets apart. They are all right here, soaking them in ethanol. I'm now just gonna fill this float up with ethanol. I've been trying to scrape the bottom and scrape all the passageways of everything. And it seems to be filling up in all the right places. I think maybe in one of these jets or something like that is blocked, but after I let this kind of chill like this for a bit, Kev has air compressor. So I'm just gonna blow out all these holes.
We need pressure.
It actually has a nice smell to it.
All right, here.
Yeah, you do. It's actually cleaning some shit off there too. It's funny because that is acetone and methanol. That's literally what makes that stuff up.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
This is mess. We have the hard part of it all cleaned up and rebuilt in a sense. Now I gotta try to put this intake manifold gasket back in there, but I put silicone on each side so that way this thing is just, it's gonna be doing its best. That's all we could ask for.
Yeah.
I believe it's best.
We've been working over that carb as I cleaned it up and reassembled it and re-carbed it. It's been a long, long afternoon, but we are determined to get this thing onto the trailer.
There's a lot of little pieces to this motherfucker. I'm not gonna lie to you. All cleaned and all inspected and all removed and replaced.
Are they up to spec?
I'll plead the fifth. Now is the moment we've been waiting for hours.
I'm so scared of spiders, but they run away from people.
Okay.
Oh man. Did you clean that window?
Yeah,
Nice.
clean the whistle.
Perfect. Thank you so much. This is my nephew Noah. You guys saw him helping me with the 4-rotor a year ago. He's helping clean all the windows on the car.
Make sure the car's all good. No
Perfect.
spiders here. Okay, this car used to have spiders.
Yeah.
And there's no spiders, excuse me.
Yep, he's the spider master.
Are you running a Valvoline in here?
So, my dear friend Francis Fiel, English is his primary language, and he literally says to me, so do you think Valvoline is compatible? And I'm like, hold on. Valvoline. He said
Valvoline.
That's what's even
Oh
worse. I
my
can't even make fun of him because it doesn't make sense. So he's like, yeah, it's Valvoline. And I'm like, who?
Who's
Who? Evelyn? Like, well, Valvoline? And he's like, Valvoline. And I'm like, L-I-N-E is line. So I would understand if somebody said Valvoline, but he said Valvoline. Valvoline. Okay, so here we go. Okay.
It was hopeful.
Yeah. So we'll.
Yeah, I was trying to get in there. 1 second.
It's working! It's working! Woo! It's working. Yeah, everything's working.
So that's how you rebuild a carburetor.
That's so cool. So I was just putting the air filter on. So you want to see all you can do with Haltech right now? I'm adjusting my base timing map.
That's a tune-up back in the day, huh?
There we go. That's how you do
Your
it.
tune's on point.
Yeah, it was. I spent a lot of time trying to figure the timing out on this thing. When it's off, it's like whoop, 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 whoop. It's hilarious. What good is firing it up if you don't drive it, right?
Whoa. Okay.
That's torque right there. Yeah.
little balcony.
I can't get out.
Why?
Open the door.
Yeah, I wanted to make sure reverse worked before I got too close to the Tesla. Like, I'll keep the door open. So she's got some work that she needs to have done to it, but there we go. Something's getting hot. My eyes are burning from it.
Yeah.
So, this car is street legal, by the way. It's a historic plate. Okay, so we're gonna go this way. The accelerator pump's not working. Look at this steering. This is how I drove it all the way to Woodward like 2-3 years ago.
It's a nice little boat.
Yeah. It's smooth though, right?
I kind of like how the suspension is.
Oh, you'll love it. It is so fucking smooth. Yeah, we're gonna turn around ASAP.
Yeah. Oh, that's...
Yeah, you feel the brakes doing that? That
Yeah.
It did that.
I'm assuming these are drums.
Oh yeah, drums and inconsistent pressures and air.
Let's see if we can do this.
I'm just gonna turn off here. Where this is.
At least reverse. Is the tack work?
There's no tack on a luxury car, my friend. There's only a speedometer.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
Let's wait for this guy.
It's got a nice semi-peak. Let's get this thing on that trailer.
Yeah, yeah. Speedometer works.
Oh, sick. Oh, that's really cool. It looks like a thermometer kind of thing.
Yeah. You did it
She's
though.
Smoking a little bit.
Yeah. See, you guys push me to do stupid shit. You get stupid results. I don't mind.
Yeah, we're not gonna keep this motor. That doesn't sound good. Oh my god.
You gotta stop it. It'll stop by itself, but this is why we should not. That's why we shouldn't have taken it for a drive. No coolant.
Probably gonna put coolant back.
I told you. I told you, Joel. I said it.
Hey, it was fun, wasn't it? It was entertaining.